This week's Torah portion, Vayigash, illustrates many things, but foremost among them is the Jewish value of welcoming the stranger. In this week's portion, Joseph, the recently appointed viceroy of Egypt, greets a group of bedraggled, hungry Canaanite refugees and welcomes them into the palace. They come to ask him for food because there's a famine in the land of Canaan, and it turns out that these men are actually his brothers that many years earlier threw him in a pit and left him for dead. And yet despite this, Joseph grants their request for food, and not just for food, but also for money to help care for their family. He knows that it is his brothers. His welcoming of them happens regardless of the fact that they are blood. He is illustrating the Jewish value of hachnasat, orchim, the welcoming of the stranger, and bringing refugees into his midst and providing for them. And the message of this week's Torah portion, there are many messages, but the one that I want to draw our attention to this week is about welcoming the stranger, is about opening our arms and our hearts to refugees, the immigrant, the undocumented, people who now more than ever need our care, our kindness, and our generosity. And if we take any message from this week's story and this week's scripture, it is that to be a person of faith is not to turn away from those who are suffering and those who are in need, but instead to embrace them, to gather them into our communities, into our homes, into our families, and make sure that they have enough. And we may find ourselves, when we do that, when we welcome the stranger, the refugee, the homeless, the vagrant, blessed in ways we could never have imagined.